So, how many of us have this habit where, like, when you buy a new product or you get something new, do you actually read the manual, like, to understand how it's used? Or do you, like, what I suspect many of us do, just go with the flow and just decide, you know what, I can figure it out, and you start to use it? Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, male and female. You're welcome back to my channel. My name is Oluwatoyin, Toyin for short, and TY for shorter. And today I just want to quickly talk about something that I think in the last 3 to 4 weeks I have been I don't know the word to use, not a victim. I have just been maybe a student of life where this is concerned. And like I said at the beginning, how many of us actually read manuals? Or even you don't have to read the manual that comes with the product. These days, phones don't even necessarily come with manuals. They don't even come with manuals anymore. There are instructions inside as to how to use the phone. So even if it doesn't come with a manual, how many of us go the extra mile to just go and study about the things that we're using? So why am I talking about the subject? I got this new gadget. Oops, I just remembered I look different. Okay, so for those that might think maybe she recorded this video 50 years ago, because we know that she has cut her hair and right now she has hair. Don't worry, I did not record this video 50 years ago. I still wear wigs once in a while, and I think that's the beauty about being a woman, right? You can have the best of all of the worlds. You can choose to rock your short hair, you can choose to rock your natural hair, you can choose to wear your hair worn in cornrows, or you can choose to wear wigs. So today I was just in the mood. I was just like, you know what? I want to wear a wig, and so I'm wearing a wig. Do you guys like it? This is actually a center wig, but for some reason I just moved it to the side. I wasn't in the mood for the center look, and I was just able to do something with it, and I do like the way that it turned out. So yeah, moving back to the conversation. So I said I got this gadget that was meant to transform my work. I had an earlier version of it that I'd used for many years, and then I got this new, let's say the difference in the earlier version and this was almost like a 10-year difference. So you can understand how much more the quality would have changed in those 10 years. But the weird thing was when I started to use this new gadget, I was getting almost worse pictures than its younger brother. Yes, younger brother, who came out 10 years ago. So I was quite confused. Now, typical, what I did, I just brought it out of the box, turned it on, looked at some buttons, just used village sense. It can't be that hard now. It's not this gadget. And started recording. So I did 1, 2, 3 recordings, and the thing was just not giving me the kind of result that I wanted. So I just said, you know what, I'm leaving this thing alone. I went back to its younger brother and I started to use its younger brother again. So one day it occurred to me that, Twin, why don't you just go on YouTube and watch some videos about how to use this guy? I mean, you can't have this kind of equipment and then not use it because you just, it didn't come to you as easily as you thought it would. I had spent nothing less than 20 minutes on YouTube. So I just typed in videos, how to use this for filming, how to do this, how to do that, watch something here, watch something there, watch about 3 different videos, and this different people talks about different things that I learned from it, applied it to this gadget, and you would not believe the absolute transformation. And personally for me, I was just in awe. Like, it was that day I told myself I like to think that I'm a student of life, but I realized that when it comes to things that we feel we can always go with the flow, we get the hang of, we can use easily, or somebody else knows how to use this, I don't need to study it, or things like that, we don't necessarily apply ourselves to life, which is why I titled this video, Stop Struggling, Start Studying. Because many things that we are struggling with in life is really a function of lack of knowledge and lack of information. Like I said, I had used that gadget about four or 5 times, I think. And I was just managing the results. And these little tips that I took away from just these videos I watched on how to use it totally transformed everything I was doing. And I asked myself, how many things do I have that I've not allowed myself to go and learn the full benefits of? Even when we have phones, many of us have all sorts of different types of high level smartphones that if we realized half of the things that these phones could do, we would be in shock than just Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, the basic things. But if we actually realize the functionality, the productivity it's meant to birth in our lives, or what of apps? So talking about this, I have this app on my phone. This app I use for video slash picture editing, but I just used to use it just to cut things, simply. It wasn't my major. In fact, no, I used to use it for video editing, not actually picture editing, but it wasn't my video editing app for what I'll put on YouTube. I'll use my video editing app on my laptop for that. But I had this to be able to then cut the short 1 minute, 2 minute bits just for social media. About some weeks ago, I just had to pay a bit more attention. I had free time that day and I just started playing with the app and going round. You will not believe the things that I found. Like, I saw, let's give or take, I've had this app for about a year. It wasn't until 2 weeks ago I discovered some things that would have made my videos more dynamic, more interesting, more wegsy, But why? Because many times that's just how we are. First things first, there are those of us who just go with the flow. Like I said, you already have the basic knowledge. You already have, you get how this thing works. So you don't even need to apply yourself a little extra. I remember when we were doing, there was one major concert we were doing in Nigeria at the time. I'm not going to call the name, many years ago, major concert. It was holding at a hotel. And then they brought in the supervisors. So they were going to use the filmmaking crew as the Nigerian crew, but they brought in the people that would supervise the crew, like the director and everything from abroad. And then director goes to look at the camera and he sees that all the cameras have been placed on manual mode by the cameramen who were Nigerians. And so he was asking them, why are the cameras on manual mode? And they're like, that's how they use the cameras. Why do they use the cameras on manual mode? Because they've not learned how to use the professional mode. They've not learned how to use the auto mode. So it's just better to put it on manual, where the camera will just focus like this and the camera will do the work. So you as cameraman, all you are doing is just holding the camera. And I could remember that director was in shock. And that's what a lot of us do to our lives or to the things in our lives. You just get into manual mode. You just allow life to go with the flow. And this doesn't have to do with gadgets. This has to do with every single thing. You are struggling in this area or in that area. Have you gone to find books that talk about how to handle the matter? Have you gone to watch videos? And there are 10,000. I mean, even if you just typed the thing on YouTube, how to deal with this, how to do this, how to do that using this app, you'll be so inundated with information. Like we say, we are in the knowledge economy, but how many of us are actually going the extra mile to access this knowledge so that it will transform the way that we live, the way that we work, the way that we handle our relationships, the way that we do everything that we do? The truth of the matter, guys, is that very few. Let's just tell ourselves the truth. And it doesn't help when you're in a society where mediocrity just seems like it's okay. Like all the person has to do is just show up. All the person has to do is just do this. All the person has to do is just do that. Meanwhile, if you went pro, you will find so many thousands of ways to use that thing. Meanwhile, you are struggling with something. If you just went to have a conversation with someone that you knew was already a professional in that area. And I know that sometimes the reasons why we are scared to have these conversations is because we don't want to look foolish. We don't want to look stupid. We don't want to seem vulnerable. Especially in this part of the world. We all like to prove as if we are Noah. Everybody is a Noah. You know it all. Like nobody wants to seem like they might be dropping the ball here or there. But like I've said in one of these videos before, nobody knows everything. And it will be sad if you are just struggling on a situation that you could have just gone to ask your partner, your contemporary, your friend, your enemy, or someone you don't even know that, oh, it seems that you are advancing in this area. Can you help me? I think it's interesting the way that we're wired, but I think that if we are wired more to understand that education does not end after 6336. Okay, if you know what 6336 means, then you obviously belong to a generation. And don't worry, it's not the mark of the beast. Oh my God! So 63, I can't believe I just said that. So 6336 was our own whatchamacall that thing, educational. I don't know what they call it today. I think a lot of things have changed over the years. But when we were in school, it was 6 years in primary school, 3 years in junior secondary, 3 years in senior secondary, and then was it meant to be 6334? I was wondering that 6 years in university. Kebawo. No, 6334. No wonder it sounded like the mark of the beast, 6336. Okay, let's be serious again. The point I was trying to make was many times a lot of us believe that once we finish that university, that's where education has stopped. Like, I've tried, I've done it all. I went through primary school, I almost died. I went through junior secondary, oh my God, WAEC. I went through to senior secondary, oh my God, this. I went through university, I'm not studying again. All I've studied is enough. No. What you studied, you studied. When you start living real life after school, every single day is a day of learning. You're studying about real life, real living, whether it's marriage, whether it's parenting, whether it's being single, whether it's this job you're doing, whether it's this skill you're trying to get, whether you're trying to pivot into something else. Every single day is a day to study. And the reason why many of us are struggling through things, especially for those that are now young adults that are maybe within the ages of about 23, 24, 25 to 35 to 40, is because we've just believed that education has tanked. So we are not necessarily educating ourselves. We're not fully benefiting from this knowledge economy we say that we are living in, and we're just going through life coasting with the flow. Even if you're on a job, you cannot tell me that what they taught you in university is what you want to use in your job. If you finish school in 2010 and in 2020 you've not gone to get any extra, we are not even saying do masters. You don't even need to do masters. There are so many courses. There are so many things you can just Google. They've given you a task on the job. They've given you something to do, and you just find out how to do this, how to do that. You get a book. You go into a bookshop. You buy a book about your business. You buy a book about another related industry, not even just your industry. So if, for example, you say that you are baking cakes, right? You don't just get a book about how to bake better cakes. You need to study about how to market your cakes, because you're not just baking cake to let the cake be fine and pink and be inside your fridge or be a picture on Instagram. You're baking the cake so that people will buy it. So how are you learning about marketing? How are you learning about business development? How are you learning about branding? How are you learning about promoting yourself? All of those things is continuous learning. So you cannot say that you went through an education system and that's where education ends, and after that you are not training yourself again on the... Look, guys, learning until either we go 6 feet under or Jesus comes. Learning is a continuous activity, and we will be shortchanging ourselves if we are not applying ourselves to life, whether it's gadgets, whether it's work, whether it's, like I said, anything. I remember when I was talking to someone who was the parent of a teenager, and she said she has 4 young adults now, and I'm just making this point to let you know that everything in life requires learning. She said how her first child became 13, and as we know, it's like when everybody becomes 13, you just change, like, bam, I just realized I'm becoming an adult. So, and the child was just changing and she didn't know what to do. And she said that was the first time she realized that we're actually not consciously taught parenting. It's like we just parent in the flow, but you can actually learn it. So she went online, started looking for materials and resources on how to parent a teenager. And she was finding resources, but a lot of resources she felt were not very related to her, or not very practical to her own life and living. And she decided to herself at that time that when she parented all her children through the teenage years and had learned all the lessons that she would learn, she would write a book on how to parent teenagers. And today, because of that journey, she's a major voice now in parenting teenagers. She has written 3 or 4 books now about it. And I'm just like, wow. That in itself is a lesson. You are going through something in your marriage, how to handle it. There is literally, I don't know if there's any subject matter in the world that a book, an article has not been written in. Or is it YouTube video? Oh Lord. There's just knowledge is flowing. I think that's been the problem. We're like oversaturated with knowledge these days. They're just like, you know what? I didn't want to game. Please, can I rest? But you cannot rest. You can't. You have to continue to learn. So, is there something that you might be struggling with today? Is there an area in your life you might be struggling with? Is there something in your life? Maybe you're sitting at home and things have happened. You've not gotten a job. You've lost your job or something. Is there a skill you can learn? There are just so many ways that this can swing. Stop struggling. Start studying. Trust me, that scripture that says, "My people perish for the lack of knowledge," is an absolutely true, absolutely valid scripture. And until we decide to make ourselves lifelong learners, we will be the greatest losers. When people say things like read at least one chapter of a book a day, you would be shocked at how that is going to be beneficial to your life and living. And that is after school. I'm not even talking about when you're in school. After school and you're in the real life, the real life, right? That is when you should realize that your learning has just started, your education has just started, and you need to be intentional. You need to be very deliberate. If maybe you leave your house in the morning, it takes you about 30 minutes to commute somewhere, what are you plugging into your ears listening to? Is it just random music? Can you listen to an audiobook? Can you read something on your phone? If you have a 10 minutes, I'm just saying that except you are intentional or deliberate about doing these things as well, you wouldn't do that. So it's also necessary that when we say start studying, you need to apportion time. You really need to apportion time. Throughout the day, there's a certain time where you say, in this time belt, I'm just going to read something. I'm just going to study something. You must be someone that is consciously studying something every single day. And if you have 24 hours in a day, it's not too much to say give 1 hour to study. It's not too much in 24. Okay, let me even say give 30 minutes if you are a beginner, but give something. It is very necessary. I think another thing as well, obviously, is this season has made each one of us grow so much, because so many things that maybe you wouldn't have had to do, we've all had to then do a lot of things by ourselves that on a good day maybe you would have outsourced, or somebody else in your office would have done it or something like that. But now that many people are working from home, there is no, somebody please help me do this. This person, please help me do this. You are the one that has to do it. So I've seen two different types of responses. Some people are complaining, oh my God, my workload has increased and all of that. Trust me, I totally get you. But if you're able to wear the perspective of, you know what? It's also building me in a different way. It's also building capacity in me in a different way. It's also building skills that I do not realize that I could have, or skills that I thought I was already okay at this level. But because this season is bringing out something different in you, you're going from 50% to 150%. Obviously, going from 50% to 150% is going to stretch you, because it's still the same 24 hours you had when you were working at 50% that you now need to apply when you have to work at 150%. But who is going to be the better for it? It is you. Because the capacity that you thought you had when we're working at 50%, you get to 150 and you're like, wow, I did not know I could do all these things. Guys, these things are for our benefit. You know, this is not the one where you say, I want to give a certificate to my mother, I want to have A's because of my father. This is about you. This is about your life. This is about your growth. This is about your development for yourself, by yourself. Obviously, it will be for the benefit of the world. We don't live for ourselves, but it is really also for your own benefit. And on this note, I have come to the end of this video. I hope that if you have been struggling in this area, that this video would inspire you to take some action steps, or at least maybe also motivate you to realize that in those areas where you've had to stretch, it's not such a bad thing. It's actually a good thing. Allow yourself to do the stretching. See, just this morning before I recorded this video, I was playing around with one of the apps that I said I've had on my phone for 1 year, because since the day I discovered that thing, every other day I just say, okay, what else is on this app? Just today before I recorded this video, I found something else that I did not know was there on an app that I've used for more than a year. Look, life is waiting for us to uncover and discover so many mysteries. It is the job of we, these human beings, to do the work. Don't find the work as laborious. Don't find studying as, she tell me to go and read a science textbook. If that's what you have to read, hey, read. If you can watch a video instead, watch a video. Whatever learning works for you. But sometimes it won't always be comfortable as well. I mean, there are days now where I'm like, I have to read a certain number of chapters before I give my eyes sleep. Discipline, like I always say on all of these videos, is key, but you can do it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. If this has helped you, or if you have some learning or knowledge hacks, because people have all sorts of hacks, please leave it in the comment section. We would like to hear from you, and let us learn from one another as we continue to talk about these lessons on the journey of life and living. Subscribe to my channel, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.